YouTube family, welcome to Official Talkology. By now, you would have already gone through the first video of 7 steps to owning your own business. Series 1, having a vision. Series 2, business entity. Series 3, business structure. Series 4, registering your business. And today, Series 5, license and permits. Now, if you have not already subscribed, please do so. If you have not turned on the notification bell, go ahead and do so. And don't forget to leave me comments, letting me know how do you feel about this video, how has that helped you, and any questions that you may have that I can potentially answer for you. I will do my best to answer it as quickly as possible. Let's move on to Series 5, which is licenses and permits. Now, there are a total of 11 business activities to choose from when you're determining which business license you need or which permit you need in order to operate your business accordingly. Now, mind you, certain businesses does in fact require that you register your business and that you additionally may get a license or a permit for it as well. So without those, it would somewhat prevent you from going forward. So now, when we go and we talk about an agriculture type of business, meaning that you either transport or import biologic animals or biotechnology, plants and animal products, which means that you do in fact need to get a license or permit for that particular business, and that you would register with the U.S. Department of Agriculture for sure. And just to give you a brief description of what the meaning is, it simply means, or the definition, it simply means an agriculture business, also known as agribusiness, is in the farming, management, production, and marketing of agriculture commodities such as livestock and crops. So if your dream is to have a nursery, that means you will need a license and permit in order to operate that business accordingly. Now, if you're just simply farming at your own home, then that's different. But if you're wanting to turn that into a specific business that you can provide some sort of service to the public, you will need a license and permit. The second option is the alcoholic beverages. Everyone should know what that is, meaning that it's wholesale, import, manufacture or sale of alcoholic beverage. So if your dream is to open a liquor store, you definitely need a license and permit with the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. Additionally, you may also need local license and permits aside from going through the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. You will also need to register locally with your local alcoholic beverage control board, and all that will come with the research that you will be doing for sure. And so the meaning of that is that any business related to the brewing, production, or distribution of alcoholic products, but shall not, for the avoidance of doubt, include sales of alcoholic products. So you definitely need to get a license and permit if your goal is to open a liquor store or distributor, or you want to manufacture and you want to brew alcohol. Whatever the case may be, you will in fact need to register to get your license and permits with those 2 boards that I listed earlier. The next option available is considered aviation, which is aircraft transporting goods or transporting people. So if you are a pilot and you want to open up your own pilot business and teaching folks how to learn how to fly, you will in fact need an aviation license and permit to move on with your business, and that will be with the Federal Aviation Administration. Once again, it simply means an airline um, company that provides air transport services for traveling passengers and or freight. Generally, airline companies are recognized with an air operating certificate or license issued by the government, by the Governmental Aviation Board. Okay. Now, the next option is the firearms, ammunition, and explosive. So it imports, manufactures, and or deals with firearms, ammunition, and explosive devices. So, which means that you would register with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive Board in order to get license and permits in order to operate that type of business. And so that just basically means that any company that manufactures small weapons, including shotguns, rifles, revolvers, pistols, machine guns, and grenade launchers, anything of such type or sort. So if your goal is to open a gun shop or to teach folks how to, in the shooting range, or you want to own a shooting range, you will in fact need a license and permit in order to operate that type of business. The next option is fish and wildlife, meaning that you import, export of wildlife, derivative products on and engage in any wildlife related activity. And that will be with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. That simply means any company or agency that provides licensing or service to consumers and conserving and restoring wildlife habitats such as wetlands, helping foreign governments with international conservations efforts. So if your goal is to preserve the preserve the lifespan of the wildlife um, habitat, you will in fact need a license and permit with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services in order to move on with your business. And so the next one that is available is considered a commercial fishery, meaning that commercial fishing of any kind. So, and that would be with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Fishery Services, meaning that if you're a fisherman and or you're a commercial fishing company, that the activity of catching fish and other seafood for commercial profit, and you provide that type of service to businesses, restaurants, and so you will in fact need to have a license or permit in order to conduct business. So it provides it in a large quantity to the consumer or to the commercial businesses that will need that type of product in order to operate their business. So you will definitely need to register with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration Fishery Services. Okay. The next option available is considered a maritime transportation, which is facilitate the shipment of cargo by sea and or ocean transportation. And you would register with the Federal Maritime Commission. So any docking services where you see the different types of transport of merchandise and you see the shipping containers on the boats and things of that nature, that will be the somewhat of an example of what I'm talking about. So the maritime transport is the shipment of goods, cargo, and or people by sea and other waterways. Um, Port operations are a necessary tool to enable maritime trade between trading partners. So that would be considered the maritime transportation activity. Mining and drilling is the next one, which means drilling of material gas, oil, or other material resources on federal lands. And you would register with the with the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, meaning any company or agency that utilizes the drilling technique used to mining, whereby a hole is drilled into the surface of the rock. So, most um, gas companies that also have that do their own drilling and mining of their oil and their gas, petroleum, uh, anything of sort, they are required to register with the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement Board in order to continue on operating as a business entity. Okay, and so the nuclear energy, meaning commercial nuclear energy production, fuel cycle, um, facility or distribution and disposal of nuclear materials. You would register with the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Federal Communication. U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which means that you will in fact need to register with them in order to make a determination. Oftentimes that's considered the U.S. government. If you have a facility that produce nuclear energy, there is a board to register and to get a license. We do have some outside companies that have government clearance in order to provide nuclear products, production of such, but you have to go through a lot of clearance from the federal government in order to even move forward with that type of business. The next one is pretty much the television and broadcasting, meaning commercial broadcasting of information via radio, via television, via wire or satellite. So any radio company, any television news company requires to have a television broadcasting license and permit, and they have to register with the Federal Communications Commission Board. So that's pretty easy and explanatory. I don't think I necessarily need to go into complete detail, but of course, if you have a question, please feel free to leave me a question down below. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell in order to get all the latest videos that will be released, and as well as don't forget to like the video as well too. Tell me how you feel about it. And then the final option available is considered transportation and logistics business type, meaning that it operates as an oversized or overweight vehicle. Permits are issued by your state government, but the U.S. Department of Transportation can basically determine how you move forward, and that will be with the U.S. Department of Transportation. Okay, so all 7 listings will be down in the description box below. And if you have any questions for me, now once again, this is series 5, which talks about licenses and permits. The first 5 videos. The first one is 7 steps to owning your own business. Series 1 talks about a vision. Series 2 talks about a business entity. Series 3 talks about the business structure. Series 4 talks about registering your business. And this is Series 5, which we are talking about licenses and permits. Please feel free to leave me a comment, ask me any questions, and hit the notification bell, like the video, and once again, subscribe. And I will see you guys next week.